There's a stretch of road in Oregon that locals don't put on maps anymore. Not officially, but every driver who's lived in Blackwood County long enough knows it exists. They just avoid it. Deputy Ethan Cole learns that lesson the hard way on his first night shift. He arrives in Blackwood just after sunset. Small town, 2 gas stations, 1 diner that closes too early, and a police station that feels older than the state itself. The sheriff greets him without shaking hands, just says, "You'll get used to the quiet, or it'll get used to you." Ethan thinks it's just local superstition, until his first call, a missing person, then another, and another, all near the forest line. By midnight, the radio starts acting strange. At first, it's just static, then something else bleeds through. A voice, calm, familiar, too familiar. "Deputy Cole, you're close now." Ethan pulls the radio away from his ear. "Who is this? Identify yourself." Only silence answers. Then, "Don't come alone next time."
He drives toward the edge of Blackwood Forest anyway. The road gets narrower, streetlights disappear one by one, like someone is turning them off as he passes. Then his headlights catch something on the roadside. A sign. Old. Wooden. Half broken. It reads, "Blackwood Forest. Do not enter after dark." Someone has scratched new words underneath it. Fresh. Still pale. Ethan leans closer. The words are his name. A sudden cold rush fills the car. The radio turns on by itself. No static this time, just breathing. Slow. Close. Then the same voice again. Ethan. He slams the radio off, but the voice continues for a second longer, even after the power is gone. He steps out of the car. The forest is completely still. No insects, no wind, no movement. Only darkness between the trees, thick enough to feel like a wall. Ethan shines his flashlight inside. The beam disappears faster than it should, swallowed by the dark. And for a moment, just a moment, he thinks he hears something moving inside the woods. Not walking, listening. Then his flashlight flickers. Once, twice, and in that half-second of darkness, he hears it clearly. His own voice, right behind him, whispering, "You shouldn't have waited this long to come back." Ethan spins around. Nothing there, only the empty road. But now the forest edge is closer than before. The trees have shifted, not moving, just closer, like the boundary is no longer fixed. And deep inside Blackwood Forest, something responds for the first time in years, not with sound, but with recognition, like it finally remembers his name. The next morning in Blackwood County feels unusually quiet. No birds, no wind, even the forest looks still, like it is holding its breath. Deputy Ethan Cole returns to the station and pulls every map, satellite scan and old land record he can find. Something doesn't add up. A section of Blackwood Forest simply doesn't exist on official documents older than 30 years, as if someone erased it deliberately. At the county records office, an older clerk refuses to help at first. Then, after a long silence, she slides a sealed folder across the desk. Her hands are shaking. Inside are handwritten reports from decades ago. Same pattern, same location, same disappearances. But one page stands out, a report from 1978. Subjects report hearing their own voices calling them deeper into the forest. No external source confirmed. Below it, a stamped note, "Case closed, unexplainable." That night, Ethan drives to the edge of Blackwood Forest. The road simply ends. No sign, no barrier. Just asphalt that turns into dirt, and then into nothing. His radio turns on by itself. At first only static, then a voice. "You're close now." Ethan freezes. The voice continues, softer. "Don't bring light with you, we already see you." He turns the radio off, but the voice keeps speaking for a few seconds after the power is cut. He steps out of the truck. The forest is too quiet. Even his footsteps feel muted, like the ground is absorbing sound. And then he notices something disturbing. Carved into the nearest tree is a name. His last name. Fresh, still pale like it was carved minutes ago. Ethan slowly touches it. The wood is warm. A sudden gust of wind passes through the trees, but only around him. The rest of the forest stays still, and from somewhere deeper inside, a familiar sound appears again. Knocking. 3 slow hits, then a pause. Then his own voice, clearer than before.
Ethan, you already came here before. He steps back immediately, but the forest edge behind him is no longer visible. The road is gone, only trees remain. Closing in slightly, not moving fast, just closer than before. And far inside the forest, something answers the knocking. Not loudly, not urgently, just patiently, waiting for him to continue. The next morning, Blackwood County looks unchanged. That's what unsettles Ethan the most. No panic, no chaos, no visible reason for what he experienced. Just the same quiet streets and the same people pretending not to notice anything wrong. At the diner, the waitress avoids his eyes when she pours coffee. After a long pause, she finally says, "You went to the forest line, didn't you?" Ethan doesn't answer. She nods anyway, like she already knows. Then adds, "People don't go there twice." Ethan returns to the station and requests old incident reports. The file cabinet is unusually disorganized for a small town department, as if someone has been pulling and returning the same folders for years. One folder is different, no label, just a stamped warning on the front, Blackwood, unassigned area. Inside are dozens of reports, same pattern, missing persons, disoriented survivors, radio interference. But the strangest detail is repeated across decades. Distance measurements do not remain consistent. One witness report from 1994 stands out. The forest was 1 mile deep yesterday, today it took 3 hours to reach the same point. That night Ethan drives again. He tells himself it's for evidence, for logic, for control. But the road to Blackwood doesn't behave normally anymore. The mile markers repeat, 47, 47, 47. The same broken fence appears 3 times in different places, and his GPS slowly stops updating, not failing, just refusing to change. He steps out again at the forest edge, but something is wrong. The sign from yesterday is gone. In its place is a new one, fresh wood, fresh carving, same message, "Welcome back." Under it, a second line appears while he watches, slowly forming in real time, "You didn't leave last night." His radio clicks on by itself again, but this time there is no voice, only sound, footsteps, multiple. Circling him in a slow pattern just beyond the tree line, not approaching, not retreating, just maintaining distance, like they are observing him. Ethan raises his flashlight. The beam catches something between the trees, a shape, then another, then another. But every time he tries to focus, they disappear before his eyes can confirm what they are. And then his radio speaks again. Not a voice this time, a recording, his own voice, from last night. "Identify yourself." A pause, then his answer, played back incorrectly. "You already know where you are." Ethan freezes, because he never said that, at least he doesn't remember saying it. And deep inside Blackwood Forest, something shifts again. Not physically, not visibly, but like the forest has adjusted its understanding of him, as if it no longer sees him as an outsider, only as someone who has already begun to return. Ethan stops trying to rely on the road. That's the first real decision he makes in days, because the road is no longer consistent. Sometimes it leads forward, sometimes it loops back without turning, and sometimes it simply stops existing for a few seconds, as if the world forgets to render it. So he walks, past the last visible mile marker, past the broken fence that now appears on both sides of him at once, deeper into Blackwood Forest. The air changes first, not colder, heavier, like the atmosphere itself becomes aware of him. His radio stops working completely. No static, no voice, just silence, as if even the device refuses to listen anymore. After what feels like hours, Ethan finds something that should not be there, a depression in the forest floor, perfectly circular, too clean to be natural. The trees around it lean slightly inward, as if drawn toward it, and at the center, an old metal hatch, half buried, no markings, no rust patterns that make sense for its age. Just a handle, waiting. Ethan doesn't move for a long time, because the forest is watching again, not visually, but emotionally, like pressure, like expectation. And then, without him deciding to, his hand reaches for the hatch. It's warm. That's the first impossible thing. Metal should not be warm in this cold air. He pulls. The hatch opens without resistance, no sound of grinding metal, no struggle, just acceptance.
Below is darkness, not empty darkness, dense darkness, like something has weight down there, like the absence itself is physical. A ladder descends into it. Ethan turns on his flashlight. It works again immediately, too easily, as if the underground is allowing it. He begins to climb down, step by step. The forest above disappears faster than it should, not fading, receding, like it is pulling away from him. At the bottom there is no tunnel, no narrow passage. Instead, a vast underground space opens up, a natural cavern but shaped too deliberately.
Too symmetrical in places where nature should not be symmetrical. And carved into the stone walls are names, thousands of them, some old, some fresh, some still faintly glowing as if recently written. Ethan walks forward slowly. The flashlight beam catches something in the center of the chamber. A structure, not built, not grown, something between both, like the idea of a building trying to become real. And inside it, voices, soft, overlapping, not shouting, not pleading, just speaking, like a memory that never stopped repeating. Then he hears it, clear, right behind him, his own voice again. "You finally came down." He turns fast, nothing there.
But now the names on the wall have changed, just slightly, subtly. One of them now reads Ethan Cole. Not glowing yet, not fully formed, but complete enough to recognize. And from deeper inside the cavern, something responds. Not with movement, but with acknowledgement. Like the place below the forest has been waiting to see if he would arrive on his own, or be brought. Ethan stares at the name on the wall. Ethan Cole. It doesn't feel like writing. It feels like recognition. Like the cavern isn't labeling him, it's confirming him. The letters are not carved into stone the way the others are. They look older and newer at the same time, as if they exist outside normal time. Behind him, the underground chamber begins to change, slowly, subtly, not collapsing, not shifting violently, just reorganizing itself, like a thought being corrected. The voices grow quieter, not because they disappear, but because they no longer need to repeat themselves. Ethan steps backward instinctively. His flashlight flickers once, then stabilizes. And in that stable light, he sees something new on the far wall. A pattern. Not names this time, but events. Roads, missing persons, radio calls, his arrival. Everything is arranged like a timeline, except it doesn't start with the past. It starts with him. His radio crackles again, even here, even underground. But now there is no static, only one voice, calm, certain. "Deputy Cole." He doesn't answer. The voice continues anyway. "You were not assigned to Blackwood County." A pause. "You were returned." Ethan grips the flashlight tighter. What does that mean? Silence. Then the cavern answers, not through the radio this time, but directly, all around him, from the stone, from the air, from the names, a unified whisper. Blackwood does not take. Blackwood restores. The chamber darkens at the edges, not losing light, but expanding shadow beyond what the beam can reach. And then Ethan understands something he shouldn't understand. The forest was never a place, it was a system, a cycle, a memory that refuses to let things disappear completely. He turns slowly. The exit he came through is gone, not blocked, not closed, just absent, like it was never part of the chamber at all. Only the wall remains, smooth, complete, waiting. And then he hears footsteps again, not approaching, not circling, arriving behind him, but this time he doesn't turn immediately, because he already knows what it is. A voice speaks softly from the darkness. "You're doing well." It sounds like him, but older, calmer, like a version of himself that has already accepted everything. Ethan finally turns. There is no monster, no figure, only reflection. A faint, distorted image in the stone surface, showing him not as he is now, but standing outside the forest at night, as if the entire journey has already happened and is still happening. The voice continues. Every deputy asks the same question. What is Blackwood? A pause, long enough to feel like time stops. Then, the answer is simple. It's what remains when everything else is taken away.
Ethan feels the ground beneath him settle, not shake, settle, like the cavern is finalizing something, completing a process. The names on the wall begin to dim, except one, his, which becomes clearer, more permanent. Above him, somewhere impossibly far away, the forest is silent. No wind, no animals, no movement. Just stillness, as if the world outside has agreed not to interfere anymore. Ethan speaks one last time. "Can I leave?" The cavern does not hesitate, it answers immediately. "You already have." And slowly the darkness begins to fade, not into light, but into something more familiar. A highway, a patrol car, a radio buzzing softly. Blackwood County returning to morning like nothing ever happened. Ethan sitting in the driver's seat, staring forward. Quiet, thinking, remembering something he can't fully explain. The radio clicks once, then a dispatcher's voice. "Deputy Cole, are you there?" A pause. Ethan looks at the forest line in the distance. Still, normal, harmless. He answers, "Yes."